Hello guys and welcome. So in this video I wanted to explain how to fight as Cloud in Final Fantasy VII Remake. So once we get to the first battle, I'll show you the basic controls of how this works. I'm intending to do one of these videos for each of the playable characters in Final Fantasy VII Remake. As we only have the demo right now, I'll only be able to do Cloud and Barret, but when the full game is fully released, then I will do them all. So once we get into combat, we will continue. Okay, so you have the various different options available to Cloud, but one thing that you can do when you're doing any fight is you can press, when you select a opponent, you can select the options menu and you can scan, like in the old Final Fantasies, and see more information about them. But a lot of them have question marks because we don't have like a formal scan ability just yet. We probably won't, or obviously we don't in the demo, but we'll revisit that when the game comes out. Now, in order to lock on to a character, you need to press R3, like press down on the R stick, and also as well you can switch characters by going left and right on the R stick. And then if you spam square, then you do those sort of combos, right? But if you hold square, you then do a combo which allows you to do a sort of lesser damage but AoE style attack. So once we get to the next fight, we will continue. Okay, so now let me show you that other AoE attack, which is when you hold down square. So you just hold it down, and you see that circle around him? That means that's an AoE attack. So if they were in range, then you would be able to hit multiple targets at once. So it does lesser damage, but it's an option for you if you're just mowing down enemies. The dodge roll, double tap circle, as I just did. Okay, so again, once we get to the next fight, we will continue and I'll show you some more tactics. Okay, so now we're going to talk about Punisher mode. So in Punisher mode, you move around slower. However, you are able to do much more devastating abilities when you are fighting and when you're holding square or tapping it. It's the same thing that if you tap square, you will do single target damage. If you hold square, you'll do AoE. Just remember that you'll have much slower movement speed. So let me show you. Now to switch to Punisher mode, press triangle, and you can see here. Now to block, hold R1. And R1 doesn't block attacks completely, it reduces the amount of damage you take. So I'm gonna now start unleashing my attacks with Punisher mode. You can see it does much more damage, but you move so slowly. So different situations, if you are like close to an enemy, then it's worth doing Punisher mode, but if not, then just switch to Operator mode. Whether we'll get more modes in the full release, we'll wait and see. Okay, once we get into the next battle, we will continue. Okay, so what you can now do as well, if you press X, you can select your tactical mode, which is like the classic style. As you can see, the game is slowed basically to like nothing, and you then can spend the time to select your options. What you also have in the bottom right of the screen, you can see the ATB bar below the health bar. What the ATB bar is it allows you to do your abilities and spells. So unless there's a full charge of the ATB bar, you're not going to be able to do abilities. So for example, I'm now going to select the ability. I'm going to do focused threat, and I can select which target. I'm going to put it on the dog. So, and then let me switch to Punisher mode, because I feel like I need it for the dog. And then Braver, because I used the shortcut, dead. Easy. So take advantage of the shortcuts, and you are able to customize the shortcuts as well. So if you click on the options menu, you have your battle settings, and you can select which abilities go into which slot. Simple as that. So you select simply which ability, which spells. So let me, for example, I'm going to set fire to be L1X, and then limit breaks only appear when they're actually fully charged up, but we'll come on to that later on. Okay, so do take advantage of the L1 shortcuts because they're really good. So once we get to the next fight, we will continue. Okay guys, so now let's combine everything that we've learned so far. So R3 to select the target. We're going to spam different attacks. Because they're close together at the moment, I'm going to hold square to AoE them down. You see they got wrecked. I'm now going to switch to Punisher mode to take down this dog, try and stagger him as quickly as possible. I'm spamming square this time because it's a single target. Okay. And my health is low, so I need to be worried about that. Now, let me use my shortcut, L1. So when the dogs are staggered, I recommend using something like Braver. Now, at any time you can open, even out of combat, you can press X, and for example, I need to use a potion. So let me use a potion on Cloud. Health doesn't automatically regenerate, at least not in the demo. Later on, whether we'll get some sort of regen ability naturally, we'll see. And then to run, when you're out in the world, just hold R1 and you can run around. So once we get to the next fight, we will continue. Okay, so now we're going to be using the fire ability. And at this point, the in-game tutorials are teaching you about the different modes. So at this point, it's teaching you that Punisher mode exists. So we already know that. So we're going to switch to Punisher mode. And in Punisher mode, because we can just devastate enemies, we're going to just hold square down to AoE because they're very close together. But for the sake of it, on the last target, we're going to use fire. So let's switch back to operator mode just so I have more freedom to move. I'm going to hold L1. I'm going to then do fire because I've assigned it to my shortcut. There you go, done. Now, magic spells in Final Fantasy games, and well, basically any game, use MP, which is magic points. To restore your MP, you need to use an ether. But beware that especially in early game, you're going to have very limited supply. It's better to use these if it's an actual crisis. And more likely, it's going to be Barrett using them rather than Cloud. So once we get to the next fight, we will continue. Okay, so now we're at the next fight, and fire is actually very effective against this guy. So if we lock onto him with R3, then you see we really don't do that much damage with operator mode. So we're going to switch to Punisher mode. We're going to try and devastate him a little bit, and then we're going to use fire to try and knock him over. So you see? So we've learned that fire is a big weakness to this guy. So we're going to keep attacking him. We're doing our best to try and stagger him. We're pressuring him. Okay, so he's not pressured anymore, so let's do fire again.
So we knock it down again. No time to complain.
Okay, so now, as I said, I'm now holding L2 so that I can use spells from my other character. So without having to switch to Barrett, for example, I can hold L2. So let me cure. I'm going to cure Cloud. There we go. So I didn't have to switch to him. So let's see if we can knock him down. There we go. He's now staggered. So let us now use our Braver ability. And then let's use Focus Thrust. No, we don't have enough ATB. Let's do Punisher mode. I'm not going to do fire again because I want to save my MP. There we go. But he's now down. So once we get to the next fight, guys, against the boss of the demo, we will continue. Okay, so with the combination of everything we've learned, I'm using my abilities, I'm trying to dodge and dance around, I'm blocking big attacks. When any boss fight with any game, really, make sure that you are cautious. You don't try and muscle down bosses, because you will be in for a bad time if you do that. Make sure that you go in, couple of attacks, run away. Okay, so he's about to be staggered. So now he's staggered. So let's use our big attacks. Let's go Punisher mode. Okay. And Cloud has got his limit break. So I wanted to show you how well the limit break works. So okay, so we're at the very last phase of the fight. I would say save the limit break for here. So let's run in. And then limit cross clash. We'll use it on the actual boss.
Gotta time our attacks just right. Hold out until you spot an opening. Gotta be careful.
Okay, so let's heal up. Now, I probably will make a separate video talking about the tactics for the last boss.
Not looking good.
But for now, we're focused on the Cloud gameplay.
It's down.
His leg is down. So again, we have an ATP boss, so let's do Braver, and we win. So guys, like I said, having certain abilities where you need them in the shortcuts, the abilities you know you're going to use, like fire, like potions, like maybe you can have Phoenix Downs equipped, whatever that you feel that you need in last second usage, or in a very quick mode. Make sure that you've assigned them, and yeah, and then otherwise just practice as you go along. Simple as that. So yeah, now I'm not going to spoil the rest of the demo for you in case you haven't played it yourself. I will link in the description the download link and the download guide for how to play this game. And yeah, so guys, tell me what you think. From the demo, from what you've seen so far from Final Fantasy VII Remake, do you prefer Cloud's combat? Do you prefer Barrett's? Do you like both of them? And so on. Let me know, guys. So, yeah. So, anyway, guys, that's it for this video. If you liked it, be sure to give it a thumbs up. You can watch a random video over there. You can watch the latest upload down there. Or you can click down here to subscribe. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.